dreams just random images fired from an unconscious brain during sleep? Or something much more important, like life-saving inner guidance? How dreams can be healing and early warning tools for disease, financial crisis, or success. And love is still one of the behavioral science's greatest unanswered questions. Hello, I'm your host, author Kat O'Keefe Kanavos. Welcome to Dreaming Healing, where dreams and cutting-edge scientific research meet on syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network. Dreaming Healing is every Tuesday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern, with live shows on the first and third evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, when you can call in and ask Kat questions about your amazing dreams. Talk on air. Call toll-free 833-220-1200. That's 833-220-1200. Come live your dreams out loud with Kat.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Dreaming Healing on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. I'm your host, Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos, but hey, my friends all call me Kat, so I hope you will too. We have a great show tonight. We have Linda Yates Schiller, and she's going to be talking about ancestral dreaming, heal generational wounds through Dreamwork. And you're probably going, generational wounds? Yeah, we're going to get to that. We're going to talk about that. So we are the dreams of our ancestors, the future embodiment of their hopes and visions. And Linda's here to help you connect with your ancestors, heal any intergenerational wounds you may have inherited, and receive the ancestral blessings and wisdom gifted to you as well. Dream studies take us on a deep dive into the heart of our healing and help us go forward and backward in time to heal from our personal, ancestral, and global wounds. And then, along with the dream-guided action steps, we pass on the healing rather than the wounds or the trauma to the next generation, like your children, grandchildren. Tonight, she will also address the unique ancestral circumstances of families who have adopted. So you may be thinking, like ahead of me, oh my goodness, but my children are adopted. I didn't actually have my children. So how would that affect them? It does. So through personal experience, clinical studies, and experimental exercises, Linda will demonstrate the recurring dreams, themes, characters, and landscapes of our ancestors actually reaching out to us. Yeah. Her new book, Ancestral Dreaming, features guided and interactive dream work to help you dream the world you hope for and you hope to be in. So don't go away, because first we're going to do our protection meditation, which we do every single show. For those of you who are new and haven't watched me before or heard me before, we do this because we delve into other realm issues. And so what I like to do is make sure that we are all protected when we're going into these other realms by calling down our spirit guides and guardian angels and creating that protection bubble. So if you're new, just listen to me, follow my directions, watch me, and you'll do just fine. If you are driving in the car and you have me on Siri, or you have me on Alexa, or you have me on your phone next to you while you're driving, don't close your eyes. This meditation will still work really well. Okay? So get ready, get very comfortable in your seat. If you're driving, you can get comfortable in your seat, but keep your hands on the steering wheel and your eyes open. The rest of you, sit deep in your seat. Let your hands fall into your lap. Feel yourself relaxing. Take a deep breath in. Hold it. Imagine any negativities from the week getting into that breath of life and blow it out into the purple flame of Saint Germain. where it's converted into beautiful golden light. And it travels up through the stars, past the planets, all the way up to those pearly gates, makes a U-turn, and comes back down at the speed of thought, which is the fastest speed there is, into your seventh chakra, your crown chakra, and fills your whole body with warm, tingling, golden light. You can feel it from the tips of your nose down to your tiny toes, just filling up with warm, tingling energy. Now again, deep breath in, hold it. Any negativity you may have done this week, knowingly or unknowingly, caught in that breath of life, and blow it out. It's gone into the purple flame of Saint Germain. See it rising up as beautiful golden light again, all the way up to the pearly gates, past the stars and planets, making the U-turn, and that golden light coming back down into your seventh chakra, filling your whole body. Just take a second and feel it vibrate on your calves, in your thighs. One more time. Deep breath in. Any negativity, whether you're aware or not, that you've been carrying since childhood, caught in that breath of life, blow it out. All of it out, gone. It's not there now. Into the purple flame of Saint Germain, where that energy is converted into beautiful golden light, going up past the stars and the planets to the pearly gates, making that U-turn back into your seventh chakra, filling your whole body with tingling golden light. Be healed from within. Imagine now a power gift in your hand. A power gift can be anything that is loaded with love, because love is powerful. It can be your favorite flower, your favorite stone, favorite piece of jewelry someone gave to you. It can even be a favorite memory, like your favorite pet. Hold it in your hand. Now imagine swinging that power gift of love around your whole body and creating a mirrored bubble. Inside that bubble is your golden light. You're warm and toasty. Only that which is of the highest and best, brought by your spirit guides and guardian angels, may enter this bubble. Everything else is reflected back from whence it came. We wish it so, and therefore it is. When you're ready, open your eyes. Until then, you can just listen to me. Let me tell you about our awesome guest tonight. We've got Linda Yale Schiller, and she's from Watertown, Massachusetts. She is a mind, body, and spiritual psychotherapist, consultant, author, and international teacher. She's the author of Modern Dreamwork and PTS Dreams, which I also have here because I love that book. And the workbook, Integrated and Embodied Trauma Treatment. She is trained in EMDR, somatic and expressive therapies, and hypnotherapy. Linda facilitates dream circles, provides individual, group, and corporate consultation, and trains professionals on working with their dreams. You can learn more about her at lindayaleschiller.com, and that's LINDAYALESCHILLER.com. Schiller. For those of you who are only listening tonight, if you want to see Linda and you'd like to see me and you want to watch the show and you're only listening, if you go to my website, KathleenO'KeefeCanvas.com, or just Google Cat, the Queen of Dreams. My website will come up. Look at the top black buttons. You'll see radio show. Click on the button for the radio show and it will take you to my website on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. And from right there on that page, you will see the poster with Linda. And you'll see all her information I just read to you. And all the links in that information will be hot. In other words, you can just click on it and it will take you right to her website. And it will take you to the part on her website that has the publications, that has her book, Ancestral Dreaming. Right there, just click on it. Everything will be hot. Okay? So rather than just listening, you can see us. So welcome to the show, Linda.
Oh, thank you, Kat. It's great to be here. And I'm just chuckling at how you start your show with that lovely two things, the way you start your show. One with that lovely visualization, guided imagery. And I am sort of one of the queens of visualization. So I had all sorts of colors and images and stuff going on as I listened. And I'll tell you later about a variation on a guided visualization that I use when working with ancestors. And the other thing is that I so appreciate you trying so hard to say my middle name. And I'm just going to tell you, so for the future, you'll know it's Yael.
Yael.
There you
Okay.
go. Perfect.
Yeah. I was thinking, Yale, like the university. I was
That's
so impressed.
right. No, that's why I don't use it as my first name.
Oh, okay. I noticed that. It's not in a lot of things. I don't remember where I went when I saw it. I thought, let me put her whole name in there in case someone wants to Google her. So it's Linda, Linda, and then Yael,
That's right.
Yael, Schiller,
That's it.
Schiller. Did I
You
say
got
that
it.
right?
Perfect.
Schiller.
Perfect.
It's a German name, so I got that one. But yeah, Yael, I love that. That
Oh,
sounds
thank you.
very mystical. Does it mean
Well,
something?
it actually is what I would call my spirit name. It's a Hebrew name, and it
Mm-hmm.
has several layers of meaning. The first is it's the animal, the heart, Hart, like a little deer, but I love that it's a heart, actually. And the other two layers of meaning are that one in the Old Testament in the Bible, when Deborah is one of the generals and she's fighting the war and she has to kill the bad guys. Cicero, I think his name is. Anyway, Yael is one of her warriors, and she's like strong and one of the Deborah's warriors. And then the third meaning of the name is the two parts, Yah and El, are both names of God.
Oh, you know what? I have heard
Like
that.
Yah, like Yahweh, like an
Yahweh.
El,
Yeah.
like Elohim.
Yes. Oh, interesting. Thank you
Yeah.
for
And I
sharing
didn't know
that.
all that when I chose the name, but
Oh, the name chose you, huh?
well, the name chose me. Yeah.
And there was a reason for that, I mean, you probably had it before. So, Linda, let's get into your book because it's so interesting. I read your book and
Great.
what was the nexus for you writing your new book, Ancestral Dreaming? What was the nexus for that? Because usually when somebody writes a book,
Right.
it's because they had an experience
Right.
that was so profound they had to share it. So what was the nexus for this book?
So, as with many of the things that I write, it's certainly the many of the books, it was a dream. So, there's background behind the dream. So, the first thing is in our international organization, the IASD, International Organization Association for the Study of Dreams, a colleague of ours was working in the Ukraine as a volunteer to help the survivors of the war in the Ukraine heal from their trauma. And he had with him my book, PTS Dreams, to help them heal from the nightmares. So he contacted me and talked with me about it while he was in the Ukraine, and we sort of went back and forth on, FaceTime and
Mhm.
Messenger and everything. And it was very profound for me because he was there helping people in the Ukraine heal from the trauma of war and
Mhm.
with a book that I wrote. And my ancestors had to flee Russia and the Ukraine because of pogroms at the turn of the century.
Mhm.
So it was like a full circle of healing where I could actually be participating in offering some kind of help and healing to the people who in the past my own ancestors had to flee from. So it felt like a, a, a full circle of in Hebrew there's a phrase tikkun olam of healing the world. And that's always been sort of my driving force around all of my work to put that into practice in my clinical work one-on-one and then in groups and then in larger and larger groups that I've been able to connect in a larger sense with the world at large with through writing and teaching. And then after Jose and I were in touch for a while, then I had a dream, and the dream was about borscht, which is a Ukrainian beet soup. It's a peasant soup.
Yeah, I love borscht.
Oh yeah, it's really good. So I had this great dream about borscht, and that was sort of the nexus, to use your word, that gave me the jump off to say, all right, there's a book that needs to come out of this experience.
Interesting. Well, we share some things there too. My grandparents came from East Prussia. And
Mm,
so they were the Von Doors and they were fleeing as well. And so my mom used to make what her mom and grandmother used to make, that borscht. I love borscht. But I like the one that they make in Russia where they've got the meat in there and the cabbage in there and all those vegetables in there. That is delicious.
yeah, that's a whole meal. There's the beet soup
Mhm.
kind that's just mostly beet, which is
Yes.
delicious, but then
Mhm.
the other one is like a full course meal in a bowl.
It is, and it's like food for the soul,
Yeah,
as at the same time it's food for the body. It's
right.
so good for you. So I want to read, if I may, Linda, I just want to read a little bit out of your book. And for those of you watching or even listening, who may have already gotten Linda's book, Ancestral Dreaming, I am in chapter 4 on
Oh,
page 73. And I'm
I'll
going to be
follow
talking
along.
about,
See what you're reading.
yeah, the Native American ancestral traditions and
Oh,
dreams. I wanted to read this. So it's story time on the show to everybody. Just sit back unless you want to read along. As with many Native and Indigenous peoples, dreams and visions are considered a connection to the spiritual world and are an essential part of the wide range of Native American tribes and cultures. Here, too, dreams act as a bridge between the physical world and the spiritual one. Many tribal members practice dream incubation, trance states, shamanic journeying. Some people call it shamanic journeying, and other forms of waking dream work to connect with their ancestors, to connect with the spirit world, and to give guidance. So those of you watching who are my regular audience, and thank you for all the new people who have joined. We almost have a 500,000 listens now.
oh, wow.
Yeah, we're getting up there, Linda. You know that as a three-time breast cancer survivor, my dreams diagnosed the illness, and then the doctors found it. And my ancestors happened to be three monks. Why, I don't know. I'm not Catholic in this lifetime, but what
Huh.
I'm trying to convey to you is what Linda has written in this book is absolutely true. So, Linda, let me ask you, what are some of the ways, if our audience right now is going, but I've never seen my ancestors in my dreams. I've never had any contact with them, and
Mm,
I'm not a Native American. So
right.
how can they connect with their ancestors?
Sure. So let me answer that question, but I'll just back up and preface it saying that the part you read, which I love that you pulled that out, is in the chapter on different traditions throughout the world. in
Mm-hmm.
dreaming and in ancestral connection. So across the whole world, we have different traditions that have a lot of similarities to each other, as well as differences according to the culture in which they arose. So that was part of that chapter. So to answer your question, how do we know or how do we connect with our relatives in a dream? Is that the question? Make sure I'm answering your
Yes,
question.
if people are saying, there are some other ways, maybe if they're not connecting with them in their dreams, are
Okay,
there other ways they can connect with them?
sure.
And then maybe it will fall back into their dreams.
Right. So let me answer it in two parts. First, we'll talk about in dreams and then in what I call dream adjacent waking experiences, sort of dreamish waking experiences. So first, we'll do the ones where you're asleep. So your ancestors can come visit you in your dreams in two different ways. One, they can come as a character in the dream, or they can come as a visitation.
Mhm.
So if you have a dream and you may or may not recognize you have a dream, oh, my mom was in that dream or my granddad was in that dream, then they're doing something in the dream. And then you can work with the dream material to find out why they were there, what they have to say to you, what's the message they're bringing. And you can do that on your own. You can do that with an individual one-on-one with people. And you can also do that in a dream group, in a dream circle. Sometimes in a dream, you'll get a character, not only a human being, you can get a human, you can get a pet, you can get a tree, you can get a rock, you can get something that somehow you know this is a relative of yours, even if they look like the maple tree in your backyard. You know that this is Granddad Maple Tree, and somehow that's how your grandfather has chosen to show up in the dream. So then there's a whole bunch of layers of questions that we can ask and feel into to figure out what's the connection between this tree in your dream and your grandfather, and why are these two images coming to you and coming to you now? What are the messages? So we can go back there if we want, but then the other way is through a visit. And I'm sure that there are some of your listeners, and I would bet you too, Kat, have had dream visits. And what differentiates a visit from a dream about a relative is it's visceral. There's a felt sense that you have in your body of a tingle or a sensation. People who've had visits from their relatives talking about, feeling their hand touch their cheek or hearing their voice speaking and hearing the exact tone and timbre of the words. One of my clients, I love this story. Actually, my cat is trying to get out of the room right now. I'm going to let him out. You want to go out, honey? Not this cat, he's alive. But a different cat came to one of my clients, and she said in her dream, she felt him sitting on her chest and purring.
Oh,
And it was as if he
healing.
was really, really right there. So that's a qualitative difference between a presence that's with you of
Mm-hmm.
a departed loved one and a dream about a departed loved one. So that's to start with. Should I keep going or do you want to double
Well,
back
let's
on something
hold
first?
hold it right there. We're going to pick
Okay.
it up when we come back. We've got to go to a commercial,
Okay.
and that's a perfect spot to take a quick break. And then when we come back, you just pick that right back up because I know there's more. And
Okay.
I think it's important because a lot of people who think they're not connecting with their ancestors in their dreams are.
That's right.
But they just don't realize it. Maybe the tree, maybe the maple tree that you were pointing out was the favorite place for grandpa to sit under. Maybe that was where he proposed to grandma. Maybe that's
Right.
where they got married. It's such an important thing, and that's what differentiates him from everybody else. And maybe we don't recognize him because he's so young and handsome then. But don't go away. We'll be right back.
What if dreams can diagnose your life? What if we can meet the love of our life in dreams? Join host Kat O'Keefe Kanavos, the #1 internationally best-selling author of Dreams That Can Save Your Life, written with Duke University medical doctor Larry Burke. Dreaming Healing is where we'll explore dreams, research, and interpret dreams from you, the caller. Dreaming Healing shows can be heard every Tuesday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern, with live shows on the first and third evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific Time on syndicated Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. Come live your dreams out loud with Kat.
Are miracles real? Can you move from mayhem to miracles? 30 prominent authors say yes as they share their high fives and down lows of challenges, abuse, addiction, and love. Experience hope, the magic elixir of miracles, through the personal stories of New York Times bestselling authors James Redfield, Dr. Bernie Siegel, Sister Jenna, Reverend Temple Hayes, and many more. If you like bestsellers, chaos to clarity, and crappy to happy, you'll love crying and laughing through mayhem to miracles. Sacred stories of transformational hope. Available now on Amazon and in bookstores worldwide.
Did you know that every word you speak matters? What you say and how you say it can make or break a relationship or shift the outcome of any situation. Are your conversations making a difference? Faith in God, gratitude, authenticity, and giving are Teresa Velarde's heart. It's in this spirit that she's focused on making a difference in the lives she's blessed to touch. Conversations That Make a Difference is now on syndicated Dream Vision 7 Radio Network every Tuesday at 5 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Time, with live call-in shows every first and third Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern.
World facing annihilation, a miraculous African nun rises to become the first female pope through a web of war, murder, and betrayal. Loved by some, hated by many, she becomes the deadly target of Islamic terrorists and her own cardinals as she introduces a new vision that will either save humanity or accelerate its destruction. 4 people must race against a nuclear holocaust to learn her astonishing secret. Pope Annalisa is available at petercanova.com, Amazon, and other online booksellers and bookstores worldwide.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
Welcome back to Dreaming Healing on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. I'm your host, Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos, but my friends all call me Kat, so I hope you will too. And we were speaking with Linda Schiller about your ancestors showing up in your dreams. And sometimes, you think, oh, I've never had an ancestor show up in my dream. Maybe you did and you just didn't know it. So that's kind of what we're talking about, because they don't always walk up to you, put their hand out and say, hi, I'm Grandpa. You have to kind of figure it out with signs and symbols and pictures and smells and places. So Linda, you were doing a great job before we had to go to commercial. So just go ahead and pick it right up.
Okay. So one of the gifts of being a dream worker, the gifts of doing good dream work, is the gift of association. Mm-hmm. So we reflect on, both for ourselves and if you're working with others, they can also reflect on your dream from their associations. If this were my dream, I'd wonder about this, or I'd be curious about that. But when we have a maple tree in the dream, for some reason, it's standing out as what is often called the CI, or the central image in the dream, just for example. So you start asking questions of the tree and to the tree. So you can embody not only the human beings, but the objects in your dream as well. And you might ask the tree, who are you? Why are you here? What have you come to tell me? And then you listen to how the tree responds to you, and let yourself be surprised. Don't presuppose you know how the tree is going to answer you. So that's one way of figuring out, oh, maybe I have an ancestor or a relative in the dream that I didn't know. But if you're interested and you want to connect with your ancestors, that's the first step to having them show up. Because some of our ancestors might be very, very gregarious, and they would think nothing of dropping by your house when they were alive to just say, "Hi, I'm here for a visit." But many of our ancestors, like probably many of us today, are probably not going to just go and knock on your door and walk into the room and say, "Yoo-hoo, here I am." They're going to wait for an invitation. So if
Yeah.
you want them to come, issue an invitation before you go to sleep and be specific. I'd really like my mom to visit me. I haven't seen her in so long. And I want to be really clear as that it's her, for example. That could be an invitation.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
you can,
setting that intention before you go to sleep so you can
exactly.
send it out to the universe. I really, I did that when my mom died. I said to my spirit guides, I need to talk to my mom. I need to
Mm,
see my mom. I
yep,
just need to see she's
yep,
okay.
yep.
Please. Boom. There she was. She just walked into the
Good,
dream and
great.
held her hands out, and I got to hug her, and I could smell her. I could feel the little moles on her back. I mean, it
Oh,
was amazing. And then she just evaporated.
yeah.
But the important thing is, I remember I said, I love you, Mom. I miss you. And she said, I miss you too. But not as strong as I said it, which meant she was already busy on the other side. So yeah, they will show up with that intention and
Right,
permission.
right. Right. And so I'd say two things about that experience you had. One is you're a strong dreamer and your ability to invoke or evoke, what you are asking for is powerful. The other is that your mom is a good boundary crosser, that
Mm,
she could come over so quickly because some of our departed relatives either aren't interested or can't figure out how to do it or are stuck somewhere. And some of our ancestors never quite made it all the way through the bardo, through that in between place between being alive in our bodies and being alive just in spirit and not in our physical bodies. And those are the folks who may have died with unresolved pain and trauma that need our help. The ones
that's
who have already gone over and have
Mhm.
the wisdom of the infinite at their fingertips, their ethereal fingertips, so to speak, are the
Mhm.
ones that can come giving us. First, they can just say, "Hi, I'm still here. I'm not really gone, just my body, but I'm still with you." They can give you a blessing. They can give you advice. Um, and they want to be remembered. They want to be remembered. They want you to pass down their memory to your children, your grandchildren, your students, your supervisees, whoever you work with, that you can share their gifts, from their lives.
Mhm. So talking about passing down, that just leads right into my next question
Okay.
from your book. How do we inherit intergenerational wounds?
Okay.
And how do we heal them?
Right.
Carrying around uh the wounds of our parents and
Well,
grandparents?
there's a relatively new science called epigenetics that I had to look up what it means when I was writing the book. And the word epi is from the Latin. It means above or on top of. So
Mhm.
our epigenetic inheritance is sort of on top of our actual physical genetic makeup. So you might have inherited your blonde hair, or I might have inherited my green eyes or our body types physically, literally from our parents, our grandparents. Those kind of things get passed down through our genetic encoding.
Mhm.
But we also inherit things that are not part of our physical gene pool, but are part of the environment in which our parents, grandparents, all the way back lived. Because when we are going through a situation, we have a physiological as well as emotional and cognitive response to what we're going through. So if your ancestors, for example, were lucky enough to have had a really good, peaceful life without any storm or strong and didn't have to run for their lives or be executed or be starving and need to leave their country because there was no food or whatever those things are, if they didn't have that, then they probably have been able to pass down that sense, that felt sense of safety and security to what I'd say the downline, us, right?
Mhm.
If they had trauma pain, unresolved wounds in their own lives, they internalized it. And here's how, this is fascinating to me, how the epigenetics works. So Dr. Rachel Yehuda at Mount Sinai Hospital in New York City did a study of Holocaust survivors from World War II and the second, third, and fourth generation. And in her studies, she found that the third and fourth generation out after the camps, these survivors, the children and grandchildren of survivors and great-grandchildren, were having nightmares of being in the concentration camps, identical to the nightmares that their great-grandparents had. And as and part of the healing was for them to recognize they didn't actually have that experience personally, but it was passed down epigenetically.
Interesting.
The feeling states and the encoded memories of our surroundings get passed down, and this is how it works. Every egg that a woman has in her body is there before she's born in her ovaries. So what that means is that you and I, were inside of our grandmother before our mother was born, because the egg that made us was already inside of our mother when she was inside of her grandmother, her mother. So and back, so on and so forth. So literally that seed of life is physically present and then gets passed down. And we know that when a fetus is inside of a mom, that it's a two-way street in terms of their bloodstreams and all the nurturing and the chemicals in the food. It all goes back and forth because it's one being for 9 months until they're two separate beings able to breathe air on their own. So both through this physiological way and then through the inherited experiences that get passed down, that's the epigenetic code. And we also tend to both feel ourselves and parent our children however we were parented. So if we were parented in a family where they said, the world is safe, the world is your oyster, go out and make good, then we inherited that mindset. But if we grew up in a family where they said, the world is not safe, it's dangerous, be careful, don't go out alone at night, look both ways behind you with messages of fear and trauma and pain, not only do we grow up having those feelings ourselves, even if we didn't go through the trauma, we then, without awareness, pass them on to our next generation. The key in all this is having awareness of what is ours and what is not ours, what we're carrying, as opposed to what happened to us, allows us to then not only offer healing to the previous generations, but to get it back through ourselves and then make choices. What are the messages we want to pass on? So we're not sort of, as Carl Jung, once said, I think, sort of led around by the nose of our unconscious. Once we're conscious, we have choices.
Led around by the nose of our unconscious. I love that. So on the same train of thought, I believe I made mention of it earlier. What if children have been adopted, and yet they're having dreams or feel like they are connecting with ancestors that are in their current family? Or how would they know if it was in their current family that they're being raised in, or the family from which they were birthed?
So the answer could be either or both and. Because as I think our daughter is from China. We adopted her from China. And she's taught me so much, particularly on this topic. So we made very sure all through her childhood and upbringing that she was connected with and aware of her birth family and her roots in China. So we exposed her to culture, and then she was with a little China group for a while, girls group. When she was 10, we took a trip back to China to visit. We even went to her orphanage then, where she was for a year. And so she has connection with those roots, but she grew up from 1 year old, which is how old she was when we brought her home, to now, when she's on Monday, she's going to be 29.
Wow.
in this family of ours. And she says things like, oh, I inherited that from you, or I inherited that from you, or I inherited that from my dad because he's a PT, or my mom, was a therapist. That's why I understand these things. And she means it. She's using the word literally. And she will say things that she's heard us say or do, and other family members say or do about her family history, her grandparents, my parents, my husband's parents. So again, back to what I said at the beginning, it's not an either or, but it's a both and. There's the epigenetic piece of the environmental influence for her.
And so how, and I don't know if, this wasn't necessarily in your book, but I'm just curious because you're such an expert in this. How would you explain how people will remember things from a previous life, or they think they're remembering something from a previous life versus remembering something from their ancestors? For instance, I've always had a recurrent dream that I lived in the bayou of Louisiana in a treehouse above the swamp.
Okay.
And I kept telling my husband that I hate Cajun music, love the food, but I can't stand the music. It just drives me. It just makes me really upset. And I don't really know why. And I said, I think I was Cajun in a previous lifetime, and the music affects me, whereas the food is wonderful. And he said, they don't live in tree houses in the bayou. And then the TV show, what's it called? True Blood. I don't know if you saw that about the
No, I haven't seen that.
I loved it. It was just like it was so unreal that I loved it. And in the opening scenes with the music, they showed the tree house in the bayou. And I pointed to it and I said to my husband, that's the tree house I lived in. So how would I kind of know? And we're going to have to you're going to have to answer this question when we get back, because we're for another break.
So we'll hold that up, but I'll say, it can be from a past life, it can be ancestral, and how we figure that out, and we can talk more after your break, is we go back to the body and we go back to the felt sense, and we follow the thread of the unconscious to the source of truth.
Oh, I love that. Don't go away, everybody. You're listening to Dreaming Healing on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. We will be right back.
What if dreams can diagnose your life? What if we can meet the love of our life in dreams? Join host Kat O'Keefe Kanavos, the #1 internationally best-selling author of Dreams That Can Save Your Life, written with Duke University medical doctor Larry Burke. Dreaming Healing is where we'll explore dreams, research, and interpret dreams from you, the caller. Dreaming Healing shows can be heard every Tuesday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern, with live shows on the first and third evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific Time on syndicated Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. Come live your dreams out loud with Kat.
Why are we here? How can we be happy? Questions asked from millennials to boomers. Crappy to Happy, Sacred Stories of Transformational Joy answers them using true stories of grit, grace, and love. James Redfield, author of The Celestine Prophecy, wrote in the foreword, "This book is a seminar about emerging truths and offers grounded solutions through the art of the comeback." Dr. Bernie Siegel, a contributing author, wrote, "Bodies die, but spirits and consciousness survive and recycle." So, grab some tissues, open your book, and prepare to cry and laugh till it heals. Crappy to Happy by Reverend Ariel Patricia and Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos. Available from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and booksellers worldwide. Have you met your physician within yet? The Nautilus and multi-award-winning book Surviving Cancerland: Intuitive Aspects of Healing is a memoir that takes you down the rabbit hole of healing dreams and interpretations, mixed with conventional medicine and treatments. Listen to the hookah-puffing caterpillar ask, "Who are you?" Dr. Bernie Siegel says Kathleen's story is powerful, honest, and eye-opening. Surviving Cancerland: Intuitive Aspects of Healing by three-time breast cancer survivor Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos. Buy the book and audio at KathleenO'KeefeKanavos.com and worldwide through Amazon and other retailers. Darkest hours to brightest moments, transformation from despair to happiness, and chaos to clarity. Real people, real pain, real healing. Life-threatening illness, death, abusive relationships, divorce, and overcoming addiction are challenges these men and women faced head-on. See how they emerged stronger and happier. Buy the new book, Chaos to Clarity: Sacred Stories of Transformational Change by Reverend Patricia Caginello and Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos. Available on sacredstoriespublishing.com and worldwide through Amazon and other retailers.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
Welcome back to the third session and the last part of Dreaming Healing tonight. It just goes so fast. When we have fascinating guests like Linda, the time literally flies. So, Linda, go ahead and take it away. We were talking about True Blood.
Right.
I think it was on Netflix, was it, or HBO? I can't remember. It was a while ago. And the vampires, which are your wolves basically, and your people, which are the rabbits, learning to live together by the vampires finding different type of blood to drink that doesn't come from humans, and they get
goodness.
along really well. So I thought it was kind of interesting, psychological.
So I'm fascinated by that because where we left off before the commercial break was how do you know if something is a past life or an ancestral past connection for you? And I was saying you go back into like, what is your felt sense? If you ask yourself the question, which one is it? And you just sort of listen to your body, you'll get a response. That's one way to do it. And I don't discount either or. And it could also be as because we don't know for sure, it could be both, and it could be a past life experience and somehow connected to your family history. Because if we go all the way back, we're all ancestors of Gaia anyway, of Mother Earth. So we go far enough back, we're all related. But in your dream, so one of the things we know about your dream is it was clearly, we say, triggered or influenced by that show you were watching on, what's it called, True Blood, about vampires. Because when you saw the credits, you said, that's the house from my dream. So somehow that house from your dream and the house on the show were resonating with each other. And then the question is, why or how? And what I was making a few notes on here is because I had never seen the show, but when you started talking about what the show is about, and they had to get different kind of blood, and there were rabbits and wolves and vampires, this is all about blood and bloodlines and whose blood is connected to whose, and how do we share blood or not share blood? So as I'm listening, it makes me wonder. And I can't say because it's your dream, but it makes me wonder about the role of blood in this dream and the possible connection with your bloodline. If it were my dream, I'd wonder about that.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I remember telling my husband things like one of the most one of the gifts that we loved the most was when our father would return. There were a bunch of us. We were just in the one house, and he would bring any kind of paper back in any kind at all. And we would stuff it in the cracks between the wooden slats because the wind in the winter was so cold.
Wow. So you know what else this dream is really reminding me of, as some of the most powerful dreams too, it has a very fairy tale-like quality to it.
Mhm.
Like the cabin in the wood, Hansel and Gretel, the Wicked
Mhm.
Witch. You have to stuff and in your case, you're not just stuffing random pieces of paper, you're stuffing paperback books into
Anything, any paper.
anything,
You could
any
find
paper at all.
newspaper, if you could find wrapping paper, any kind. If you brought it,
Yeah.
it was like Christmas all over again.
Huh. So if this
You
were
just
my
stuff
dream,
it in
I
there.
would want to, even though I don't know if you still have it or not, but it feels so alive that maybe not right now on the air, or maybe if you want, but I would, if that were my dream, I would want to go back and really sort of peel back the layers and look at the various symbols of the house, the little wooden house up in the trees in a
Mhm.
bayou in Louisiana, where, to the best of your knowledge, you have had no relatives.
No,
And then
I haven't
the
been to Louisiana.
associations with this, and it was called True Blood. So I
Hmm.
would want to pay attention to something called True Blood
Hmm.
um, in the dream. And I don't know how they lived together in the TV show. If there was they were a lot of killing, if they were sucking each other's bloods, if they were
There
living
was a little bit
peacefully.
of all of that in there.
So
But they had a bloodline. They talked about
that,
a bloodline that went all the way back
there you
to
go.
the South, the North and the South, going to war and before that. So it was interesting. It was I liked it. It was a very interesting show. So, anyhow, I wanted to ask you, we were talking about intergenerational wounds,
Right.
but you also write about ancestral blessings. And so
Yeah.
that I kind of feel like, knowing where I came from in previous lifetimes was kind of an ancestral blessing, even if it was a house over infested waters because there were a lot of crocodiles underneath our house. And how is this ancestral blessings and wisdom? How is it gifted to us?
Sure. So in the book, I delineated 6 types of calls that we might get from our ancestors. And I also talk about sometimes they can come in whispers or in shouts. They can come very quietly, and we really have to listen carefully and watch carefully to hear and see that they're there. Or they might be beating down our door if they've been trying to get our attention for a long time and we haven't been paying attention. So the 6 calls are the first one is simply, I'm still here. They've come to tell you that they're not really gone. And this in and of itself can be such a comfort, particularly in early stages of grieving when people feel that loss so much more acutely than later stages, as a general rule. That sense of knowing that they're still here, even if it's on the other side of the veil, is wonderful. The second one then is, I'm here to give you a blessing. I'm here to tell you something, to give you something in your life, to tell you something you need to know. One is, I'm just here. I haven't gone anywhere. The next one is the blessing where something I've learned, or something either in my life or since I've died, since I've passed over on the other side, I'm just going to give you this blessing now so you'll have it for your life. You won't have to wait until you leave your body. So that could be a
Oh,
blessing.
I like that.
The third is, there's something you need that you're seeking, some information, something you need help with. And I can help you with that. So you can listen up for when our departed relatives come through with a message that says, either directly or indirectly, sometimes you have to decode the message. Um,
Mhm.
Here's what you can do about this problem. You're wondering, should I take this job? Should I not take this job? This guy I'm dating, should we move in together or not? I mean, whatever your dilemma or your question is, or a health issue as well. Is this something I should go to see the doctor about or not? They can come through. And if you do a practice called dream incubation, where you're asking a question before you go to sleep at night, and you write it in your journal to really anchor it, chances are higher and higher that they will come through with the message being very easy to decode as opposed to being hard to decode, but they come through with information and help with some dilemma you have in your life. So actually, I think I have time. So that was three, and then there's three more. Let me tell you a story about that one about incubating a dream for information, because it's related to what we were talking about before with adoption. So when we got in the adoption world, it's called the referral. So when we got the referral for our daughter, she was very, very underweight for the age that she was given on the referral notice. And we were really concerned, is she healthy? Is she well? And so the woman from our agency says, well, let me just go call China. And so we're sitting in her office and she calls over to China and they have this conversation in Chinese. And she says, oh, no, 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 no. Did we tell you she was born in February? That was a mistake. She was really born in April. Do we know? Do we not know? We're not sure. So I said to her, when do you need to know if we're going to, we were concerned if she was healthy enough. And she said, I'd like to go. And I said to her, I'd like to go home and dream on it. And she says, okay, but you have to let me know by tomorrow. And I said, okay. So I went home and I incubated a dream. Is this our daughter? That was like what I put. And I said to my dream muse, I want a crystal clear answer right away because I don't have time to mess around and decode it. So I woke up a few times in the night, nothing, nothing, nothing. I get a dream just like 7 a.m. I got it. So here was the message that came through. Which ancestor? I'm not sure, but here's the message. Actually, I probably do know now that I'm saying it out loud. The background you need to know before I tell you the dream, so you'll immediately understand the dream, is my mother-in-law gave my husband and I a tool shed for our gardening tools as a wedding present or an anniversary present. And when the guy came to install it, it didn't quite fit because we have a high deck and because our house is on a hill. So he said, no problem. I'll just dig down. I'll put in a foundation and the shed will fit. And he did. And we have a tool shed there. So here's my dream. The dream was we have a tool shed. It was a little bigger than we expected, but we dug down and put in a good foundation and it fit just fine. Our daughter was a little older than we expected, but she was our daughter. And that was crystal clear to me.
It's just fine.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. So we're running out of time. I mean, this goes so fast, Linda. I can't believe it. I think I've got to have you back because I have so many more questions and I'm just not going to get to them. But
want me to quickly say the other three?
Huh?
What should I quickly say the other three? I don't know where we are with time in terms of when.
Yeah, we only have like 2 minutes.
Okay. So really, really quickly, the next ones, the fourth one is your ancestors. These are the ones who are hurt and died unhealed. These are the ones who are crying out for you to help them. Mm-hmm. The fifth is when your ancestors died holding a grudge and they want you to perpetuate the grudge. And we can have a long conversation about that another time.
We'll do that one on another one. Yeah, because I know.
And then the final one is they say, remember me. Tell my stories, pass down my dishes and my plants and my stories of my life, and tell the stories, when you have your Christmas dinner, this was your grandma's china set. So they'll be remembered.
That's beautiful.
In a nutshell.
Yeah. So quickly tell us where we can find your book. I know the audience would love to get it. So tell us where we can find it.
You can find it any place you find books. The publisher, of course, would be thrilled. Llewellyn Worldwide is the publisher. You could go to their website. You could get it online on Amazon or what's it called? Bookshop.org, which caters to all independent bookstores. You can ask your local bookstore if they carry it, and if they don't, you can ask them to order it for you. And they may already be carrying it. So anywhere you would get your books, you can get this.
Well, thank you so much for being our guest tonight. We've got like 1 minute left. So in conclusion, our ancestors are not dead because love never dies. And we are forever connected to them through time, space, dreams, and love. And love heals all. So if you missed last week's show with Dr. Linda Backman, Soul Design, Past Lives, Origins, and Purpose, watch or listen to the archives. Go to my website, click on the button that says radio show, and go to the page on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, and it'll be right there. So remember, our next show next week is going to be Larry Freeborg, and it's going to be about always at choice, strategies for moving on after death. Remember, everybody dreams, but some dreams save lives. Good night, everybody, and thank you again, Linda.
Oh, thank you so much, Kat. Good night.
Thank you for joining us this evening, and a big thanks to our producer. Tune in next time to Dreaming Healing for more cutting-edge research, live dream interpretations, and stories with radio host and award-winning author Kat O'Keefe Kanavos. Listen every Tuesday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern Time with call-in live shows on the first and third evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific Time on syndicated Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. Remember, everyone dreams, but some dreams save lives. Live your dreams. Find more about Kat at KathleenO'KeefeKanavos.com. That's Kathleen with a K. OKEEFEKANAVOS, or The Queen of Dreams on Google search.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.